This is the Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Those of you who've been following this channel might not have heard our story. Okay, so the story of me and my wife. Her name is Alexis, and she's absolutely fabulous. One day you will have the chance to meet her. Probably do a face reveal when we've come to maybe 100,000 subscribers. We'll see. But I wanted to share with you guys about our story, and if you want to learn more about it, the beginning videos on the Men of High Value channel that were made in April 2018 will explain a little bit more about what happened in order for me to marry her and the details around that. But today I wanted to focus a little bit more on what happened after we got married and the problems and challenges that ensued because of different circumstances. So let's get right into it. What we decided to do when we got married is for us to have children immediately. Now, this was something that my wife warned me against, and she basically wanted us to kind of have a few years where it was just me and her. Now, during this time, I was a virgin, and I wanted to have a lot of kids. Like, that was one of my dreams growing up, that maybe we'd have 12 kids or something like that. And she was kind of saying she wanted to have a lot of kids as well, but she was saying that, maybe we could wait a little bit with them. And I was 23 years old, she was 22. And when she told me this, I was like, what's the point of getting married if we're not gonna have kids? So in some sense, I guess emotionally forced her. I wasn't looking at it as force at the time, but I can realize right now that it kind of was, because she really wanted to get married to me. So she understood that in order for me to have him, I have to go through with that. So that's what we did. We got married. 6 weeks later, she was pregnant. I was wondering for a time, what's going on, because she wasn't getting pregnant fast enough. But 6 weeks passed. We saw on the little stick that she peed on. Fantastic. We're pregnant. And he was born 9 months later. And what happened from there? Okay, so during this time, I was not financially strong, okay? I didn't have the financial foundation that I tell the Men of High Value to do now. It's completely different. What I teach the Men of High Value channel is based on pain and suffering, okay? And a lot of the things that I share on this channel are based on the same thing, things that we learn from pain. And it's from that learning that we can be able to help others, and that's what I'm doing here. But since we didn't really have a lot of money, there's a system in Norway that basically makes it so that if the woman works at least 6 months out of the last 10 months before the child is born, then she will be paid 100% of what she earned during that time frame for 10 months after the child is born. Which means that if she worked 6 months, she would be paid 16 months. And I was like, let's make it happen. So she ended up getting a job of which I had promised her she would never have to get. Okay, she wasn't supposed to work a day in her life, in terms of working for someone else. And I kind of broke that promise by telling her that she should go to work. So she ended up being 4 months pregnant and having to go to work as a pizza chef. And she did that for 6 months, going up the hill in the snow, and she literally hated her life. The first year of marriage was depressing for her, but she kept being positive. She kept being, trying her best and doing all those things. And I was not providing enough food. I was really keeping the food budget low. It was making it very difficult for her. She was trying to be healthy for the baby and all those things. And I was really burdening her, okay? After the child was born, I kept burdening her. I had no idea what I was doing. I kept wanting to have sex all the time. I mean, compared to how often she wanted to have sex, like we didn't really have any long droughts or periods of time that it went too long, but it was not really what I was expecting from our marriage. And eventually, when she got pregnant with number 2. And this happened because we weren't using contraceptives at all. I was like, why should we use it? I mean, breastfeeding is very often a good contraceptive. Well, this time it didn't work. While she was breastfeeding, number 2 came along. She got pregnant with her. And then suddenly we had 2 kids. And things were becoming more and more difficult by the day. And one of the things that I wanted to really make work was at least her attraction level to me. But the more burden she got in her life, the more she looked down on me for not creating the environment that she deserved and that she needed, because I was the one who created those kids in her, and I wanted to be the best possible husband and father, and yet I wasn't providing and I wasn't protecting her environment. This took a really big toll on our relationship. Not in the sense of us yelling at each other, because we didn't do that, okay? I'm not an arguer, she was not an arguer, so basically, in general, she would just keep it in, but because she kept it in, if you haven't seen some of my videos about venting, you need to see those, because what was going on is that accidents would happen and injuries would happen to my firstborn child that came as a result of my wife being burdened, okay? So her keeping issues and pain and secrets and all those things inside of her, instead of bringing it out on the table and explaining how she truly felt, she was keeping all of these negative emotions inside and basically pretending that she was happy because she wanted to be positive, upbeat, according to what, scriptures and religion was telling us to do. But things were just becoming worse and worse and worse. And at one point, I just told her that, okay, we need to figure something out, because this is not working. It wasn't that our marriage wasn't working, but since both of us were perfectionists, this was not acceptable. And we decided then, I sat her down one day, I've mentioned this before, and I told her, I want to know everything. I want you to tell me all the things that you love, all the things that you hate. I want to know about all your fantasies. I want to know about your secrets. I want to know about everything that's happened in the past, both good and bad. I want to listen. Tell me everything. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to be there for you and listen attentively. She basically broke down in tears. Okay, because this is what she had been waiting for pretty much for 3 years, as we'd been married for that long. And that was basically when our relationship properly started, amazingly enough. But she was still burdened because we had 2 kids, we were never sleeping at all, and she was gaining weight, which is the first time that had really ever happened to her on a larger scale. And she wasn't really appreciating that in terms of her self-esteem, and it was just really, really difficult to have children. Now, we absolutely love our kids, and we also love them then, there was no issues when it came to that, but it was more looking back now, it's what were we thinking in terms of having kids that quickly without me having established a strong financial foundation, because I couldn't provide, I couldn't protect, I wasn't a man, I was basically being a feminine little bitch and not taking care of my family. And the fact is, I was trying to work a full-time job and still trying to support my family and still trying to build a business on the side, and just all of this all at the same time made these years basically the hardest years of our lives. Not only this, we made it even more difficult, okay? It's a positive thing though, because we learned tons from it. We made it even more difficult by choosing to not send the kids to kindergarten and not send the kids to school at all. None of the kids have gone to kindergarten, none of them have gone to school. We've basically kept them at home the entire time. They've played with each other. They basically have had fun together as brother and sister. And then we got number 3 in 2014. So we've got 3 kids now today. And what made it worse then was that my wife at the same time was feeling lonely. Okay, for you guys who don't have kids, who are not married yet, and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be so beautiful to have a family in the future, it is hard. It is so tough. But it's only if you don't understand what we've come to realize and what happened to us, what we've learned from all those years of experience, that we can help those that have not started those relationships yet to learn. Because once they understand these things and apply these things, they can actually set up their lives in such a way that they can have joy and happiness all of the way, and not just after the kids have kind of grown up. It all starts with finding the right, trustworthy man, okay? Locking him down and making sure that his financial foundation is massively established, okay? Massively established. I would not date anyone who doesn't have his finances massively established. This is why it might be wise for you to date someone that's a little bit older than what you think you should be dating. Okay, because very often they might be more mature, they've got their financials set up properly, they've got experience, they know what they're doing, and choosing that person based upon the network of people that you've chosen to choose that guy, okay, your family and friends. So that's the first thing, finding the right guy who has the financials in place. Number 2 would be to make sure you follow the family system that I'm going to reveal to you guys in the next video. Number 3 would be to choose to wait with the kids. Don't have kids right away. Trust me on this. Which means, is it wise for you to wait to find the right guy until you're 35? Not really. You want to make sure that you lock down the right guy between the ages of 18 and 22, preferably, and if you are a virgin, it makes the situation even better, because then you can bond with your mate even more beautifully, okay? And number 4 is basically when the time is right, the financials are in place, and you can actually, and you know it's you guys forever and ever and ever, then is the time to actually start with number 1 child, and do it in an unburdened fashion, having researched everything in advance, understanding the processes of being pregnant, understanding the processes of being a mother, and of course you'll never be completely ready for it, but if you establish that foundation and you make it a powerful, strong foundation together with your man of your choice, life is going to be beautiful for you guys, okay? I don't want you to go in the same trap that we went into, but I do also have to say that the one thing that my wife got right was she found a trustworthy guy, okay? I didn't have my financials in place, and that was my fault. She didn't use a network of people to find the right guy, but fortunately she found me anyhow, okay? And we've done tons of mistakes, and I'm fired up about helping you to not make the same mistakes, but to set up your life properly so that you not only have joy a few years of your life, but you set yourself up so you can have joy for the next 60, 70, 80, 100 years of your life. See you in the next video. This is the Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'm excited to share with you what's coming up next.